In this one, what I'm going to do is add a wine rack to the end of our island unit, just to give the kitchen a little bit more detail. Okay, so let's get started. To begin this, I'm just going to select the wine bottle, press 1, and just drag this over towards the kitchen. Maybe position this a little bit better. Just bring it back here. I'm just going to press 1 now and just tab into edit mode. What I really want to do is just get the diameter of this bottle. So if I come over to the measure it tab, just select segment and show. Okay, so it's giving me a 0.08. And if I tab back to object mode, just make sure on the layer tab that you have kitchen accessories and kitchen visible. I'm just going to select the end of this island unit here and tab into edit mode. I'm just going to switch to face selection. Select this face and I'm just going to choose segments so we can have a look at the dimensions as we're doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is just press I to inset this, and I think I'm going to come into 0.65 on the edge here, and I'm also going to press E and extrude this back in, maybe something like this. So I just bring up wireframe. I think that's a good distance to begin. I'm just going to press the / key just to isolate this object and come back to solid very quickly. Now there's a couple of faces showing at the end here, and to get rid of these, I'm going to have to delete some of these faces. It's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to be seen on the inside. So I'm just going to press X and choose faces. So we're just left with this face here. Okay, I'm just going to press the / key again just to come back here and come back to solid. So I'm going to press W and choose subdivide. And I'm going to just bring up the cuts to maybe 5. And I'm going to press I to inset, and I'm going to press I again for individual faces, and I'm just going to left click. Okay, so one of the cool features of Measure It is if we switch to vertex selection and I select 2 verts here and get a segment, and maybe 2 verts on the vertical and get a segment. Okay, you can see we have a size for our X and Z coordinates. So if I just Control Z a couple of times, you can see that we go back a couple of stages, but the Measure It dimensions remain in place, which is very, very, very handy. So what I want to do is get both of these to be square at 0.09. So I'm going to press S and X. So I'm just going to right click. I'm just going to bring back individual origins and S on X and just reduce that to 0.09. And the same thing here on the Z. So S, Z, and increase this to 0.09. So that's a small square, just wider than the bottle, basically. So I'm going to press E and extrude these back in. I can bring up wireframe just to see my depth, and maybe something like that. Okay, that looks pretty good in comparison to the bottle. So if I come back to solid, I can come back to object mode. I'm just going to switch off or delete these dimensions, and I'm going to select my bottle. I can rotate this on the X by 90 and just move it into position. Zoom in here just to get a closer look at it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Fits well. Maybe a little bit too wide, but it's not too bad. Okay, so that's going to do it for this one.